Aw, Vic, you shouldn't have. Nice. I bet that's juicy and well seasoned. You are a good man. I will see you later. I have got things to do. Wait, this isn't what it looks like. This isn't what it looks like, guys. Seriously. I'm not playing with my zombies. Cut the reel. Cut the reel! Nobody saw anything, right? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Labz. We've got a lot of serious work to do. Because that's all we do, is we do serious work. We don't play with our zombies, we don't play with our food, and we most certainly don't, do anything besides scientific work, right? Right. Let's do this. There she is, there she is, there she is, guys. This has gotta be it, right? Yes, you brought her in. Alright, let's pop out of my head. Where's she coming from? There she is. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Labz. Today we are playing around with zombies. And this time in particular, the Scout, which is the Screamer. She is summoned in via events and heat maps. And I'll show you how to actually activate your heat maps in just a minute. I'm trying to observe her behavior. I've been studying it for a while. Trying to see if there's an active way of drawing her in. There she is. What is she gonna do? She knows I was shooting from inside there. She's patrolling. She's looking around. Now there's a whole lot of things just sitting here out in the open that are causing heat, but she doesn't attack them. She's just kind of cruising on through. Okay. So that's the thing. Okay, now if you scream... Come on, lady. I had to know where that was from. In case you've never used this mode, the sound is actually coming from inside the building, not from where my camera is, despite my bullet coming from over here. Alright, she knows where I'm at, but she hasn't seen me, and she hasn't screamed. Ma'am, could you scream? Okay, bust through the hole, see my face, and scream. That's what everybody else does. Are you actually damaging the wall? How much damage do you do? You're like the easiest zombie to kill, almost. Come on! Was that a scream? Did she summon? There we go, there we go. She screamed. They are coming from outside this heat map. Alright, now let's see how her zombies act. She's aggro to me. She screamed again. Here they come. Now she's beating on the wall, which means she's probably going to draw them in via her sound. And they should be aggro to me. Now when I tried this and I killed her before they showed up over here, they didn't attack my building. Do you know where I'm at? They do in fact know where I'm at. Here comes the second screamer. An event did not happen, but you did summon another one. Here comes another one. Alright, y'all beat up on me for a little while. I am in proper mode. Let me see. Group 1 done. Group 2. Game stage 3. Dude, you just jumped all the way over there. Okay. I'm trying to see if she summoned it or if it did the heat map, and I think she actually summoned it. Okay, that answers that question. Oh yeah, I've got a whole group of bad guys in here. Get out of that. Alright, that answers a ton of questions I just had. Basically, after I learned a couple of things, there were some legitimate questions, some concerns that I was having. Stop it. Oh, right over your shoulder. I am sorry about that. Karen, stop. Is that everybody? Just had a few questions I need to ask. Sounds like there's still somebody else. Did anybody fall in the pit? Yes, the other screamer. Okay, so... wow, that event alone took me up to 70. Alright, now, in order to access this particular menu that I'm using, let me go ahead and show you that before we get into the details of what exactly I was trying to do. Let me get out of God menu. Alright, if you want to access your heat map, you're going to have to turn on the debug menu. So you hit F1, you type DM, developer menu, debug menu, whatever you want to call it, hit enter. And right now it turned mine off because I already had mine on. If you want to flip-flop back and forth, hit up and it gives you the last command that you just put in and hit enter. That turned mine back on. Escape back out of there. I'm now in debug menu, which also allows me the creative menu plus all the other actions that go along with it, include the F6 spawn entities tab. Now I had to do this naturally because in order to spawn the entity in, you can spawn a screamer in, but it's not quite... she's not doing the same thing that would have drawn her in, and that's the information I needed to know. What drew her in, what exactly triggered it, what values actually go into it, and then what does she do actually when she gets in there? Does she attack the source of the heat? Is there like a... okay, you've got a heat source and you've got an event count. The last event that happens, is she aggro to the last event? Does she damage the thing that causes it? We're fisting to get another one. Okay, let's pop outside and, no. Okay, we're going to pop outside and watch what happens this time. This time I'm not going to give her attention. I'm just going to see what she does and how long she stays in. Okay, so here are the things that I have learned. In order to open up the debug menu, you have to hit not the debug menu, but the heat map, hit F8, and it turns it off and on. One time turns on the FPS counter, 2 times gives you the heat chunk, and it tells you which chunk you're in. Each of these chunks has got a particular size. There's my lines of this particular size. There's the other marker, there's my other marker, and then here. So I'm kind of really right here at the front of this particular area, and each chunk has a particular set value of heat and events that happened in there. And there are several things that add to your heat map. One of those, if we could hurry up and get another lady here, please. 71 events, we're at 84%. There are things that will cause your heat map to go up. Obviously, having all of these furnaces are helping out a lot. I did find out that doing things like this, putting your stuff in here, that's not part of the heat map. It's not considered an event to go towards the screamer. I'm assuming setting up jobs in your chem state. Well, your chem station is actually on fire, so yeah, that would most definitely be one. But as far as the ones that are not, you know, a fire, your workstation, it's not going to be considered a fire. Your actual campfire would be one. That's going to be an event because it's going to actually add to the heat in the area. The chem station will be one. Your forges are going to be one, and, well, there you go. There's other things that contribute to the heat map of an area, and that's weapons fire. If I shoot my weapon right now, let me get to where you can see it a little bit better. I'm sure Liz is going to love me if she has to blow up any of this stuff. But if you watch my counter, if you can see it, it's right below my, my webcam. Right now it says heat chunk 3254. I'm at 82.8%, and there's 67 events. If I shoot, we're at 68 events, 69 events. And every time I shoot, it also takes the heat up a little bit. But what actually triggers her is when that percentage hits 100. After it hits 100, it will spawn the screamer in, and it will reset. So there's a little bit of a timeout, but if you notice during the last one, assuming that you actually saw it. It didn't take long for my percentage to go back up, because not only was I fighting the zombies, which is shooting, I'm not sure whether or not any of the zombie action itself caused it, like if they were banging on something, and here she comes again. Did it actually spawn one? Because it doesn't always spawn one. Every now and then, and I'm not sure exactly why. I would love to be able to pinpoint why it doesn't. Okay, it did not spawn one this time? Maybe because it's so close to the other one I just did. There is a timeout for her. I looked through the XML files to see if I could figure out exactly what the timeout was, but I really could not find it. Okay, it just didn't do the one this time. Probably because it was too close to the other one, and we had several screamers in that particular horde, so it probably set it up. Okay, anyway, I forgot what I was saying whenever I noticed that she was doing that. Since my counter started over, it's fine. We'll wait to finish the secondary part of this experience. Let's go around and look at some of the other things while this is working. Now, after I leave this heat map, this one is going to pause. It's not going to go up, it's not going to go down, so if you want to pause your heat map, turn your stuff on, leave your entire area. I mean, by at least that many blocks. It looks like maybe 20 by 20, maybe. I really don't know, and I'm not going to put the blocks across there to find out. There is probably an actual value inside the XML file somewhere, but I tried looking for information on the screamer through there, but I didn't have it. I just couldn't find it, so I gave up. Right now, this one is sitting at 127 events. This particular heat map is sitting at 127 events. So when I hit 100, it didn't spawn her in. I'm at 50% on the heat. If I continue to shoot, my percentage slowly goes up in response. The events go up. What's going on with my environment? Stop doing that. Alright, and we're sitting at 50. When it turns 50... the information turns yellow. When we hit, is it 75 or 80? I think it's 75. Alright, when we hit 80, it turns red, and basically that is the sign for it's fixing to be scout time. Now, the only way you're going to be able to see this is if you have the debug menu on. That's the only way you're going to be able to see it, is with the debug menu on. So there's no way of getting a notification ahead of time that, hey, maybe I'm doing too much in this particular area, let's move. Alright, we're back over here. This one is sitting at 5 events, 30%. It's not going to do anything while I'm over here. I stuck a whole bunch of information on here because I know how to take notes as an official scientist. Awesome. There are some things that I did, in fact, learn. I threw the notes up here in case I needed them for later on. But basically what I found out, and I've already said it, when you hit 50%, the numbers turn yellow. That's like the first indicator. When they turn red, 80%, that's like, this is your final notice, stop what you're doing. And then at 100, it spawns. Usually. Not every single time. I have found other times that it's not spawning in. And exactly what's stopping the spawn, I really don't know if it has to do with the time of day, if it has to do with other zombie spawns that are going on in the area, or if it's because the last spawn that we had so many screamers in it. She could be timed out right now, and therefore it's not going to send us another one yet. In order to reinforce this, let's go back over here. We are still sitting at 80%. This particular heat map was paused while we were over there. Just like that right there. That heat map is paused while we were over here because we're in a separate area. If we go over here, if you'll remember the last episode, when I had my mental breakdown trying to do a whole bunch of maths, and the worst part is it wasn't just the math. The math itself was easy. It was the constant I accidentally messed up kind of situation. Like, I would start scrapping down the next car before I had dropped everything off, so I would have to dump everything and start over again. It was dumb stuff like that that was really causing most of my issues. Not necessarily this math, but me being an idiot. Right now we're standing at 62%. There's 59 events. We did have some explosions over here, plus we were using the impact driver, which also gives us events. Just out of curiosity, so we can be thorough, I tried the pickaxe and stuff like that to see whether or not they counted as an event. But I didn't actually try this one. Breaking down a vehicle is very, very loud. Oh yeah, that's 2 events. 2 events. 2 events. So that definitely counts as an event. So the impact driver and that count as an event. What about the wrench? Oh yeah, that's an event. So, despite everything else, the pickaxe being very loud, it still doesn't count as an event. Which is odd. Pickaxe. Let's get one of these ones. We're still over here playing because I'm not messing around with my experiment over there. Get down here where you can hit stuff. That is not considered an event. And my heat percentage is not going up, so this one does not count it. I also tried the axe. It does not count that either as an event. Gunfire obviously counts as an event. Turrets count as an event, so if you've got a lot of turrets going off and protecting your environment, those are going to count as an event. But then again, I was also using a jaunt turret, which is not very... It's not as effective as it was before. So that's a thing. But anyway, going back over here to my notes and to this area so it can continue to load the next event. I'm trying to see if there's a timeout between these. We are sitting at 54%. We got 9 events. We are pretty close to another spawn. What else have I learned about the Screamers? Because of the last one and this one, my idea for trying to make a Screamer trap is not optional. I had ideas of developing something like this to where I would have like a pathway where they could get to it, but force them to jump right before they actually hit the forges and fall into a pit where they could just dig around all they wanted to and I wouldn't have to worry about them and they would eventually despawn. That was my idea, but it's really not going to work. First off, because the Screamers are not aggro to the source of heat. As a matter of fact, they won't even damage your base unless you're making noise inside your base. So, and I'm not sure what their hearing range is specifically, but say I had huge walls, and she probably wouldn't even hear me. She would just meander around my base until she caught sight of me, then she would scream. So, this thing is not going to work because she's not aggro to it. She'd be more likely to come after me than she would anything that's creating heat. So that idea for a Screamer trap is not going to work. Man, it would be interesting if she was actually aggro to a source of heat. It seems like a real reason for it. If there's... Now, is she aggro to the event? Like, if the last thing that causes it to take over is me shooting... Well, I did that last time. She actually came straight to where I was at, not towards the source of the heat, which has been driving the percentage up a lot. Like, we're sitting at 54, and I haven't really been doing anything besides letting these forges run. And she's not aggro to any of these. She's not aggro to the base itself. She's not coming in and attacking anything. She's quite literally scouting the area out, waiting to see if she can see me. So how do you fight something like that? I mean, you obviously can build up walls and stuff like that. The main thing is trying to find a way where you can see her and take her out long before she sees you. There's not really a way to get the zombies' AI to be attracted to something other than yourself. Which is kind of disappointing. I was sitting there watching Walking Dead earlier seasons. I know I've heard the later seasons are not that great. I haven't actually watched them, but I've gone back and started watching them. And during the second season, the people of Woodbury, the guy in charge, the governor, had a machine that was like a huge mechanical wind chime. And he had a pit around the base of it. We're at 78%. He had a huge base around it where he could trap zombies who came after the sound of the wind chime. That's where I got this idea, is if I could get the zombies to be attracted to something other than me, could I indeed trap them and allow them to fall a long way and eventually despawn? Or even if they didn't despawn for a good long time, them digging around down there is not affecting my base at all. Now, the issues with this, twofold. First off, they're not attracted to any of this at all, which sucks. And secondly, the heat map, like, I haven't checked my base, and I'm probably not going to turn debug menu on anyway because you can't see this without debug menu, which is disappointing. But you could actually be inside a POI that's stuck between two different heat maps. Like, if my building was sitting here, the wall of my building was sitting here, and I was in one heat map over here and another heat map over here, this could be legitimately useful if you knew where it was at. In a server, you're not going to be able to pull this stuff up, and if you're playing a legitimate playthrough, you're not going to be able to bring this information up. But if you don't mind having an additional advantage in your game, using the fact that you have 2 different heat maps inside your area could be great. Say I built the wall of my base and I put 2 different rooms. On this side of my base, I had, I don't know, I had my forges over here. And on this side, I had my chemistry stations. And maybe even I built it in between 3 different heat maps, would be like right here. And I had 1 source of heat, which is all my forges. Then I had all of my cooking area. And then I had my chemistry stations. You could actually get a ton of heat sources going on at one time. And because they're not all in the same heat map, they're not heating up as fast. So that is a huge cheese that you could possibly do against the zombies. But as far as trying to find something that is effective in an actual playthrough, I didn't find that. I didn't find what I was looking for. There's got to be something. Come on, Fun Pimps. One thing humans would definitely notice is that the zombies are attracted to certain things, and they would try to find a way to attract a zombie. Why do we not have noisemakers? That is something that would be awesome to this game, that you could actually set up a noisemaker. I mean, even if you want to straight use the same type of design-ish, the same-ish type of design that was from The Walking Dead, it was just basically a... we're sitting at 96%. If you basically took... let me see, these columns right here. Oh, the event just started. Let's drop. Alright, did you summon one this time? Yes. Okay, now I'm just going to watch her for a couple of minutes to see what she does. I have had this test running, and she's just wandered around and fell in the hole by herself. But this time I'm going to be quiet. What I was saying about the screamer detection stuff is you could actually make like a wind chime or something like that that increases their want to go after a certain thing, like they'll be aggroed to the noise. Or hell, even firecrackers, which is well within the realm of possibility given the type of stuff that you can collect in this game. Gunpowder, paper, you should be able to make those. How would you configure the AI to go after that? I don't know. It would probably be the same as, like, you could toss a rock and they will get attracted to that noise. It would definitely be a noise generator. If you were going to use, like, a wind chime device where you could set up a pit to make them fall into it, it could be gated behind, say, it has to be electric powered, because while we can see wind, there's no wind power here. We've got solar panel, we don't have wind power. We don't have like windmills we can make and access the wind that way, which means unless we have possibly electrical stuff. Oh, she caught herself on fire. Oh no. But she's not actually doing anything. She took a bit of fall damage. That's pretty much it. But, God, the idea I had for the base was very dependent on they were actually aggroed to your stuff somehow, as far as the heat goes. I didn't expect her to just walk up and start banging on random poles or whatever. I mean, there are some out here, but I at least expected them to be aggroed and want to attack the source of the heat, and they don't. So, that's not an idea, I guess. And this time I've got a random zombie also walking around. Let's see whether or not that affects her pathing. Here she comes. So if you were to force a spawn in like the day before a horde, and then you keep your production time, your production heat down a little bit, you might be safe that way. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have figured out. Other than there are things that are in the game that cause it, the events. The events actually add to your percentage. Shooting a gun's gonna do it. Using the impact driver and the, wrench, not wrench, but the, well, yeah, the wrench. Well, all of the things to salvage with, all of those take it down, but for some reason or another, the pickaxe doesn't do it. How does she know where I'm at? Yeah, she's coming directly to me, not the heat source, to me. Okay, now she's just meandering around. Well, she does kind of go to the heat source. I didn't actually trigger this one. I didn't shoot to get her to come in. She did kind of wander around here to get all the way to the heat. This is still not useful. See, in order for this to be the thing, because it's inside of an area, I keep hoping that there's going to be a way I can figure out how to do this. Because it's all in the same heat map, unless you happen to map out exactly where it's at, and then that doesn't work because you're not protecting your base. God, that's so disappointing, actually. I was really hoping she would be aggroed to the things and swat at them. Now she's just sitting there spazzing out. And there's just really not a feasible way to do that. If you wanted to have a spot... Now, I wonder if you can force her to... Lady, you're gonna catch on fire. There. How long does that fire last? That didn't do hardly any damage. Is she gonna come back towards the heat? Or is she just gonna wander away? I don't know if she's attracted over here because he's making noise or not, but she's definitely not paying any attention to me. And I am already at 54%. Will she die before the next one comes in? Or will it stop the spawn? Come on. Tick over, tick over. Madam, don't leave it. Don't leave my heat zone here, please. Okay, she is outside of... Yeah, she's definitely outside of this heat zone, but I think it still counts. I was kind of hoping to keep her over here because I didn't know if her being inside this zone stopped another one from spawning in. Is she coming back? She's coming back. Come on! I've been sitting at 96% for a while. Do the thing! I don't want to shoot to bring the heat up. There it goes. It does look like it spawned... Yes, it spawned in a second one. Okay, so her being here did not stop it. I don't know how long it's going to take for her to die. But now I've got two screamers in play. Let's just keep an eye on them and see what else happens. I'm not sure how this is useful in the game, though. If I was completely trying to cheese the AI, I could think of several exploits in this particular section. But I was really hoping to design something very cool for this. Kind of like a... I don't know, a Venus flytrap for screamers. And I was just going to make a circular pattern with a whole bunch of forges in there to attract them towards it, but drop them in a hole. And that's not really going to work. Okay, are you going to come over here and actually... Who hit the ground here? That must have been her hitting the ground. She did hit on something. Where are you going, lady? Okay, so you are coming towards the source of the heat, but you're not really staying in the source of the heat. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if I would need to close this in like a full building, because somehow or another the game knows if you have like a full building over you for the heat and cold. So if I contain the heat in here, would they feel the need to go inside to investigate the heat itself? There we go, there we go. Left her inside the hole where she's nice and safe, and I can observe the next one. I just want to see... I don't need to trigger her, but I can go ahead and clean some of this stuff up. I've got a little bit more. I need to find out if there's a way of doing this. Because if I can get her to come in here, put a sensor over there that forces the door shut after they pass through here, say a pressure plate or something like that, can I shut her in there and then not have to worry about her if she comes into this actual building to investigate the heat? I don't know that she will. I think she just comes to this area to investigate the heat, in which case, to guarantee that she was going to do that, I would have to build it out a little bit further than the heat source and probably put a door on each side. This is a little bit resource intensive. This is just like a suppose this is a thing kind of experiment. Not probably very useful, but maybe. God, it's taking forever. Could you heat up faster, please? I hear. There she is. There she is. Now, are you going to try and come into the building where the heat is at? What is generating all of the heat? She's not aggro to it, so she's not going to attack it. That's not the thing. But it is what's generating what spawned her in, and she's going to try and investigate whatever it is. Are you curious enough to actually go into the building? Is that something you are programmed to do? You're going to stop right outside. Okay, well, that killed that idea too. Oh, they got a nice arrow on them now. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, lock that ammo in. So I would need a noisemaker to actually bring her inside. She'll come in and investigate the area, but she needs other things to entice her into the actual building to get rid of her. What if I was just let it off with a switch? What if it's just a switch? What if I saw her, I wanted to bring her inside, turn the noisemaker on. Alright, let's first just determine what exactly you're going to do that I have a generator going. Okay, you still came in and stopped. I'm not sure if this is going to be considered an action that my character is taking, if I was to turn that on. You don't seem the least bit interested. And oddly enough, those are not counted as events. Would a regular turret be counted as an event? Because I know the jump turret does. So, okay, let's stop wasting stuff. Huh. Okay, well, you know what? Failed experiment number 5 for this stuff. That's not a big deal. We learn something every time we try this game. There's got to be something that she would see as an audio cue. Maybe a regular turret, something like that. Something that would actually draw her into the building. We drew her into the map. How to draw her into a building is going to be the next step. Okay, ma'am. Sorry. Sorry. My bad. Did you scream? Nope. Everything is safe. And there we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Liz Labs today. We did a whole lot of playing around with the screamers about what brings them in. Basically, accumulated heat over time. And leaving your area does not change the heat, but you can stop it from accumulating too fast by turning stuff on and then leaving before it has a chance to impact your map. But every now and then, it is going to get high enough. So maybe the day before a horde or something like that, when you're not as much as in a rush, maybe set your heat map off intentionally, get the horde out of the way, and then don't turn your forges on until after your horde. So that's a little bit that we have learned. Also, heat maps are triggered by gunshots, because those cause events, which also raise your percentage, but you can get away with a whole lot more events than you can with those. And explosions, using the auger, the chainsaw, any of these, the scavenging stuff, the wrench, the impact, the ratchet, all of those set it off, so there's a lot of those to consider. The pickaxe does not set it off, the axe does not set it off, collapsing a building and blocks falling will set it off. So a lot of things to take in consideration when you're trying to protect your base from a screamer or a screamer horde, because screamers can, in fact, draw in other screamers, and before you know it, you've got an overrun. And when you take into account the fact that the whole time you're fighting the screamer, she's calling in a horde and the possibility of yet another screamer, your heat is still going up, your gunfire is still going up, which chances are you could draw in another one. So be careful with that. Anyway, you guys, I will see you in the next one. This was not... it was not a fruitful experience, but maybe after I give this information out and this idea to other people, maybe they can take it and run with it and find something that does work. And that's the whole point in these, is to relay the little bit that I found so maybe other people can pick it up and find something new. I will see you next time. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!